Greetings, everyone. Before we begin the video, quick reminder, I do not own any music. I do not own any art, music, or artwork, such as animes, music, or other people's voices. I do not own Demon Slayer, not Naruto, My Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter, Dragon Ball, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, The Promised Neverland, Yu Yu Hakusho, and many others. I own none of those. I do not own the rights to any music, pictures, art, or any other form of artwork other than my own voice and this very story. Without any further ado, roll the intro. Greetings, everyone, and welcome back once more to I, Nicholas Kibutsuji. And, well, let me tell you a tale of a very powerful demon, the strongest in his entire new world. Name of this demon is Naruto Kibutsuji. Where do I begin? We begin in Japan, in the 1900s to be exact. Muzan Kibutsuji was no idiot. He was a powerful, feared demon king. But even he was not so cocky. He knew that sooner or later he would fall. And with the resurrection of sun breathing and possibly the reincarnation of Yoriichi Shichikune, he knew this more than ever. So, he ordered his demons and his upper moons, each of them, to give him a drop of their blood, which their blood had fused with his. But instead of absorbing the blood, thus returning it back to himself, he kept it in 6 different vials. But he always kept them on his person for unknown reasons. Muzan then decided to go out one night and find a beautiful and yet strong human woman. The name of this woman is unknown. Her face, attributes, and skills are also unknown. Muzan had a child with this woman and then murdered her. After her murdering the child's mother, Muzan grabbed the child and then poured all 6 vials of the each was 1 liter. Each was 1 pint of the upper moon's blood. He poured 6 whole pints of blood in total into Naruto, which, in any case, that would kill him, or explode his very body. But instead of killing him, due to Naruto being blood related to Muzan, and due to the baby being related to Muzan, the baby adapted to the blood extremely well. The blood thus morphed into his own. And Muzan prepared and decided to give the child off to humans to take care of it and raise it until the time was right. What Muzan was planning was not anything a normal, lovey-dovey human would be thinking. You might have come here for a tale of father and son bonding and yada yada yada. That is not one of those tales. Muzan's plan was quite simple. He knew that his one weakness was the sun. He knew that his body and that he would soon be killed, and that eventually he would be killed. Muzan's plans were to wait till a child reached an age of at least some sort of coherentness. That way, he would perform his secret skill and would take over the child's body. His plan was to take over the child's body, thus gaining the powers of the 6 upper moons, along with, due to the child being half human, half Muzan, and the bodies being able, the child being able to be in the sun, Muzan would gain the power of walking in the sun, along with the power of his 6 upper moons. Without devouring them, it was a piece of cake, an excellent plan. He figured once he'd done this, his power would soar beyond imagination. But 1 year later, Muzan had realized his life was reaching its end, and so he prepared to enact his plan. The Demon Slayers had somehow entered his infinite palace and had begun slaying his 6 powerful upper moons. He feared the worst. And so, what did he do? He fled. He jumped around and fled the infinite palace, until he was cornered by demon slayers, Hashira and Mizunoto, to be exact. Or Hashira and the Kamaboko squad, along with a whole bunch of fodder demon slayer characters, and a whole bunch of fodder demon slayers. Also, RIP for all the fodder demon slayers. I understand your job was just to be fodder, but these guys risked their lives knowing that they would die. Also, the Hashira and the Kamaboko squad could kill Muzan. Bravo. Just bravo. Muzan decided that he would try to get rid of his one problem, his one roadblock to victory, the Demon Slayers. And so a great battle would begin. The Demon Slayers would use their strongest skills and techniques, while Muzan would use his strongest techniques as well. However, when Muzan realized that somehow, and when Muzan had been lured out into the sunlight out of his palace, he realized that there was almost no time. Muzan quickly recognized where he had dropped out and where he and the Demon Slayers had been basically brought to. He knew that the child was not even half a mile away. He could simply run over there, grab the child, and then and then take over the child's body, thus gaining unmeasurable power and the power to defeat all the Demon Slayers. It was a power trip It would be a power trip unimaginable. However, while he was making a mad dash towards the baby, he was stopped by Tanjiro himself. Now, Tanjiro, unlike the manga, was far stronger and the reincarnation of Yoriichi, which we don't know if he is or is not. We just simply don't know. But Tanjiro, in this, most definitely is. However, without the memories of Yoriichi, but the skills, he dashed at Muzan at unparalleled speeds, trying to stop him. Muzan lost both of his limbs and both of his arms, but kept running, screaming in pain, as he used his strongest skill, and as he was in his strongest form at the time, rushing towards the young child, and rushing towards the baby's living place. When he'd finally reached its living quarters, it was too late. He could see from behind him that Tanjiro was already preparing the 13th form. And so, Muzan had to make a desperate decision here, and had to make a desperate act of survival here. He rushed up the stairs, grabbed the young baby, and before his head was sliced off, he could only pour a couple of drops of blood into Naruto, hoping that this would be enough to overpower the young child's infant-like personality, and the young child's infant mind. However, Muzan underestimated his own son's mental prowess far too much. The child was extremely skilled in his cognitive abilities, even if he was a young newborn, and if he was only a year old. And so, while Muzan's blood tried to overpower Naruto's consciousness, it simply was not meant to be. Muzan grabbed the boy and kept pouring his blood into him, but it was no use. For each drop that Muzan gave into Naruto, it made him stronger, but Muzan's consciousness faded. Eventually, Muzan decided to pour every single drop of blood into his body, except for one, just so his physical body could fight against Tanjiro while his blood was trying to take over the baby's body. And so, even with all but one drop of Muzan's blood inside of the young baby, it was almost impossible. Muzan's blood was trying everything it could to overpower the young child's consciousness. But With the power of odds on its side, Naruto's consciousness won. However, as a last-ditch escape attempt, Muzan's blood decided to trigger a large amount and a random ability on an extremely powerful scale, trying to either destroy the baby or destroy Tanjiro, or both. And what happened next was a shocker. The randomized attack was, surprise, surprise, Nakime's Iwa, and Nakime's interdimensional old door skills. Beneath the young baby, beneath the year-old infant, appeared a shamazan door, which then opened up. However, due to this being much powerfuler than Nakime's normal skills ever could be, instead of transporting him to a random area, it transported him into an entirely different dimension. And so the young baby was brought and was teleported into the middle of the woods, where it was found by Minato and Kushina. They saw a young, innocent baby with black hair and red eyes, along with whiskers. Now, in this AU, the whiskers as there is 6, each whisker represents one of the 6 upper moons. Now, these whiskers are not the sources of Naruto's power, so I'm not saying, hey, if you get rid of his whiskers, he's totally powerless, because that ain't how it works. It's just a physical representation of the 6 upper moons' blood converged into him. But yeah, right now, even as an infant, Naruto overpowers Muzan with ease. Hell, even Yoriichi, as an infant, an infantile. Yeah, that's a lot of power. As we skip 1 month later, the Kyuubi attack. Minato and Kushina would have a child, a birth child, and would birth a child. However, while the child was being born, Kushina could not contain a very powerful creature which lurked inside of her. The beast known as the Kyuubi no Kitsune, or the Kyuubi no Kitsune, a very powerful ancient force of destructive energy, made living. Or in other words, it's living, evil, destructive power. This beast was so legendary and so powerful it was feared by many. But when it was finally free, when the Kyuubi was finally free, it went and it saw that the blood child, and that the child which Kushina had just birthed, was the pick for being sealed away. The Kyuubi, also known as Kurama, used one of its claws to slice and to stab right through Kushina, Minato, and even the baby. With no hope left, everyone thought the worst. Until Minato saw Naruto crying that the child could not and might not live a long life, as it was believed that only an Uzumaki's blood Uzumaki could contain the power of the Kyuubi. And so, while he was sealed away, and so it was done. Minato would do the Reaper Death Seal with the last of his life, and would seal away the Great Kyuubi within the 1 year old, with the 13-month-year-old, which they adopted a month ago. His power was far greater than any beast before him. And the Kyuubi, from just looking at Naruto, before it was sealed into Naruto, could feel a unholy air pressure, which seemed to shake the Kyuubi to the very core. It actually whimpered, trying to escape until Minato had done the Reaper Death Seal. And not even the Reaper himself could fully contain Kurama, who kept trying to escape. But while this was happening, Naruto, from just opening his eyes, from just feeling as if he was in danger, out of his back, a large amount of blood would start to form. It wouldn't come out of Naruto. Instead, it would just appear. The blood would then morph itself into 9 extremely long, bloody red, glowing chains. It seemed as if the Uzumaki adamantine chains somehow were in Naruto, even though he wasn't a blood Uzumaki. The chains, however, were far stronger than that of an Uzumaki's adamantine chains. As when Kurama tried to break free, or at least loosen the chains, they only grappled harder. And they only grappled on him harder. And this time, they sent from the chain, and from the chains came a pulse of powerful poison, of a powerful blood-like poison, which began to infect the beast's chakra, causing it to begin to, well, I'm not gonna fully say it, but in other words, Kurama could see himself being lit on fire from his very fingertips all the way down to the ends of his tails. He could see a black and red unholy flame begin to set itself on him and begin to blaze atop him. The Kyuubi thrashed around, using all sorts of attacks, even creating tornadoes, just by breathing, with all of its breath, trying to blow out the flames, but they wouldn't budge. Instead, they seared across the fox's body even faster. And just as it seemed, the beast's body was entirely engulfed. It blasted out with its final movements, wailing in pain. The Shinigami looked in confusion and yet fear, seeing how powerful this creature and this young child, an infant, was. It decided to look through and see the boy's soul. But what it saw was something unholy. What it saw was a black and red. And what it saw was a black void, which appeared to be made out of Amaterasu flames. and a ginormous red flaming face of of 6 lore. Well, multiple faces. There were 7 in total. One appeared to be glowing with red eyes. One appeared to have giant red glowing eyes and sharp white, glowing white fangs. Another appeared to be glowing with yellow and red eyes, and just be glowing 6 yellow and red eyes with sharp white fangs. Another blue eyes with sharp white fangs. Another rainbow eyes with sharp white fangs. Another greenish eyes and light greenish yellow eyes with sharp white fangs. And so on. It was creepy. He saw what appeared to be 6 and 7 different faces swirling around inside the boy's soul, laughing maniacally. Each laugh was sinister and filled with darkness. The Shinigami then tried, with its last moments that it had on the mortal plane. It grabbed its knife, and it grabbed its blade out of its mouth and prepared to slice the baby apart, fearing what it could do if the baby was ever able to mature. However, before it could even touch the baby, its body then began to dissipate until it had left back, until it was forced back into the world of the Shinigami, or hell. Everyone watched in amazement, however, no one was paying attention to the Shinigami, as everyone watched in amazement as the young child appeared to kill the Kyuubi. The elders looked in amazement, seeing what the child's unimaginable power. Danzo looked at the baby, seeing the potential for a great weapon, while Kurama saw himself being burned alive as he looked at his hand, which appeared to be turning into a black and red fiery sand, which then went straight into Naruto, as the Kyuubi kept trying to escape until its entire body started being sucked away and started being turned into black and red fiery sand and being sucked into Naruto like a sun into a black hole, or a genie into a lamp. He screamed in pain and said, "No! Spare me! Spare me!" The beast roared in a loud, deep, darkening voice. However, it was too late, as the last part of the beast would be seen as its arm reaching out, trying to escape, and then being sucked away, and then being turned into red and black fiery sand, and being sucked away into Naruto. Despite what the Shinigami saw, the village believed Naruto was a hero with unimaginable skills, and he could even become a great shinobi one day. And so, they trained Naruto. And so, when Naruto reached the age of 4, he appeared to be a mix of like an Uchiha, but weird. He had red eyes with normal black pupils. His hair was black and spiky, and he even had 6 fox and 6 whiskers on his face. It was confusing and yet terrifying. What was even more terrifying was one day, Hayashi Hyuga thought the boy should not deserve to be alone. And so he and a few of his members, and a few of his clan members, walked over to Naruto to try and adopt him. But what one of the clan members saw when they used their Byakugan, while the others saw nothing but a kind child, even with their Byakugan, this one saw the truth. It saw Naruto's soul, which appeared to be a red and black whirlwind-like black hole, which within it held now 8 giant faces. The Kyuubi's was now added to these faces, creating the Hyuga then and fainted of fear and due to fear. And when he woke, his brain was so scrambled he couldn't even speak right. He only shivered in fear. Before Hayashi could adopt Naruto, it was Danzo and the rest of these, and most of the council, overturned it. As Danzo then said, the boy has black hair and red eyes. Obviously, he should go to the Uchiha clan. And obviously, Fugaku Uchiha should be the one to adopt him. As Fugaku Uchiha would then say, that's right. You, Hayashi, got the idea to adopt him a week ago. I've been trying to adopt the 4-year-old for 2 whole years. I finally got the Hokage, the elders, Danzo, and most of the citizen councils and most of the council's approval. And you are not taking away my right. As Hayashi then said, very well. May I at least be able to see the young child? As then he said, of course. And as Fugaku then said, of course. 4-year-old Naruto, who then, an hour later, the 4-year-old Naruto for the first time met 4-year-old Sasuke. The two looked at each other. When Naruto looked at Sasuke, he could see behind him what appeared to be what appeared to be a humanoid made of lightning, covered in some sort of purple, fiery armor. And when Sasuke looked at Naruto, what he saw was terrifying. He saw a black and red elemental, combined of all 5 elements. He saw a black and red, a giant 3-headed ginormous elemental beast like nightmare, which bursted nothing but pure destructive power. The two who appeared to be spirits behind the two stared at one another with killing intent, while the 2 babies just looked at each other with also killing intent. We skipped to the age of 8. Naruto was a prodigy, even more so than Itachi. from the first day from when he first picked up a kunai. The first time he picked up a kunai in Shuriken, Naruto aced it. He could hit targets from miles away, even if they defied the laws of physics. If Naruto's targets were a mile away, facing the ground, and attached to extremely low-hanging tree branches, which were so low they were 1 centimeter from touching the ground. Naruto could somehow hit the target right on the dot. It was unknown to everyone how the hell this young child defied the laws of physics and gravity. But he was praised for it. When it came to Shuriken, he was also skilled. He could throw them as if he was already a pro at it. And don't even get me started on Kenjutsu. When he first picked up a blade, any blade, he sliced like a swordsman. No, like a samurai god. He hit with such precision and strength, along with cutting force, that it sliced the air in half, creating shockwaves from each slash. He was truly an unimaginable prodigy. However, despite Naruto's amazing physical prowess, he had one weakness: chakra. Naruto could not use chakra. Whenever he tried, I had to do a normal clone, and whenever Naruto tried to do one clone, his body instead, and from his body, 6 holes opened up, one on each palm, one on the top of each of his feet, one on his back, and 2 on his shoulder. Not one on his back, and 2 on his shoulders. From the 6 holes appeared each a drop of blood. Each drop of blood then hit the ground, creating a puddle. The puddle then expanded, and the 6 puddles then expanded, and rising from them appeared 6 Narutos, but each looked different. As well as having different facial features, they also each appeared to have different skill sets. They did not just instantly poof away like a normal clone. They appeared to be the same density, strength, and overall everything that Naruto already was. In other words, it was like Naruto had just perfectly created and just perfectly copied and pasted himself 6 times. However, when Naruto did this, he could not use his swordsman skills to their peak, but one of the Narutos, who was by far one of the creepier looking ones, he had red and yellow eyes. 6 red and yellow eyes. Very creepy. Longer black hair, along with the 6 fox whiskers. When the Naruto with 6 eyes was told to train and was told to show them what he could do, out of Naruto's body appeared multiple blades, and from the sides of those blades, more blades formed. It appeared to be a porcupine-like technique, but instead of it being quills, it was blades. Danzo, being curious, since he was also watching Naruto's progress, broke 3 of the blades, seeing what would happen. The blades instantly regenerated. They then began bending, as if they were some sort of paper or rubber. They still held the density and cutting force of normal blades, though. As then, the six-eyed Naruto then said, "That's not all." As he then said, "Breath of the moon, burst form, dark moon evening pass." And then from one of the katanas, and then from his hand, a full blade had formed. It slashed once, but from it appeared a purple and a red head slash made of physical energy. And within the slash was multiple spinning crescent moon-shaped blades, which instantly then disappeared once they hit something. The attack was also really fast. Danzo then deemed this Naruto the swordsman. The secondary Naruto had rainbow eyes and a more dumb demeanor. What I mean by this, he appeared to be extremely carefree and stupid. When he was told to show them what he could do, the Naruto simply spawned in his hands was 2 golden sharp fans. Everyone was confused, as they were not like any sand shinobi's fans, where they'd have ginormous fans which could blow back, which could do amazing air skills, and which could do amazing ninjutsus as well as sand skills. No, Naruto's were just normal, but with one slash, they appeared to create ginormous create ginormous blasts of wind, which were able to cut through trees and blow, and even people, as well as blow them backwards. This was not his only skill, as he then giggled and said, "Freeze!" As suddenly what appeared to be ice sculptures of Naruto formed. They then started moving and doing an array of multiple attacks. It was then deemed Danzo then deemed the second Naruto to be the frosty one, or the ice one. The third Naruto, when he was told to show off what he could do, he simply took a stance unknown to any taijutsu master. Even my guy was confused at what stance he was taking, but he then begins punching and using strange unknown martial arts techniques, which appeared to each create a different blast of air pressure, but as well punch holes directly through trees and even metal. He appeared to be one of the most physically strong, as well as one of the fastest. He was then called the martial artist one. Sorry about that. My cat just puked on my damn bed. Gross. Why the hell did you do that? Sorry about that. Anywho, back to the video. Oh, damn. Another Naruto The third Naruto was then called the martial artist one. A fourth Naruto was, and Danzo then called for the fourth to show what it could do. The fourth, which was Nakime. Now, allow me to explain how this works. Muzan gave all of the previous and present Upper Moon's blood to Naruto, meaning even if it's a dead Upper Moon 4, like Hantengu, Naruto has their abilities, thus why Naruto can split himself into multiple forms, and into multiple selves. And let me just tell you, Hantengu's demon blooder is cracked beyond compare. Harrison. Like, if he wasn't so scared or weak, and he actually trained and ate more, like, seriously, if Hantengu had confidence, Demon Slayer is done for. Like, yeah, boom. Kokoshibo, dead. Tanjiro, dead. All of the Upper Moons and Demon Slayers and Hashira, dead. Like, seriously. If he just ate more humans and was more confident, everything would just have ended there. But anyways, back to the video. The sixth Naruto and the fourth Naruto appeared to summon in its hands a biwa, confusing the hell out of everyone. Then, it strummed the biwa, and the entire building which they were in began to change its configuration. Even the gravity had switched around. While everyone was standing on the ground, they all immediately flopped over to the left and began standing on the walls, as if that was now the ground. Suddenly, the stairs began to change their configurations as well, as the building began to expand exponentially, creating more rooms, more floors, more stairs, and more doors. As then Danzo said, "Please reverse, and please undo what you just did." As the fourth Naruto complied and strung its biwa, everything then began to compact back to normal. Danzo then called Naruto, and the fourth one, the biwa player of death. And the confusing biwa player, because no one could figure out how the hell its ability worked. The fifth Naruto was the creepiest. It had an eye where its mouth should go, mouth where its eyes should go, and an eye on its forehead. Very creepy. The fourth Naruto then, and when he was told what he could do, and to show what he could do, instead of holding a weapon, a pot appeared surrounded his entire legs. Multiple pots began spawning out of nowhere. This Naruto then just ducked in one pot and appeared out of another. Even if they were, say, 20 feet away from each other. This confused the hell out of everyone. If it was some sort of technique that would allow him to teleport, like the body flicker, but better. He then began to spawn quills out of his hands, which hit a random fodder ninja, and when the fodder ninja was hit, they turned into a fish. He then began spawning fish and began throwing them at everyone, including weird pufferfish that did the same thing as Naruto had just did. Everyone was both confused and amazed. Confused at how the hell the pufferfish quills were able to turn people into fish, and amazed on how how beautiful the pots looked. And lastly was the weirdest of the Narutos. This Naruto appeared to be, how do I explain it? 2 in 1. It had one set of legs, but on its hips, it split. There was 2 torsos, 2 sets of arms, and 2 heads. One torso appeared to be very feminine, while the other appeared to be very masculine. From the feminine one appeared obi sashes, which had the cutting force of a katana, but also incredible speed. From the other appeared 2 sickles made out of flesh, bone, and blood. Once the Naruto slashed the sickles, ginormous flying slashes out of blood began flying. They then induced another random fodder ninja with a poisonous effect. When all was said and done, Danzo had decided to nickname the 6 Narutos. He nicknamed the first Blade, second Frost, third Battle Crazed, fourth Confusing Biwa, fifth Fishman, I'm Pots and Fish Dude, and sixth Conjoined Twins. The 7th Naruto, which was the original, appeared to, when he did this, it appeared Naruto was able to create spine-like tendrils out of his body. He was also able to shapeshift parts of his body. Not his entire body, and the other upper moons can't use and the other Narutos can't use their full capabilities because, remember, he's just 8. And as of right now, he's able to wipe the floor with Kakashi and Guy. And with Kakashi and Guy, if he's not using anything above the 2nd gate. So yeah, he's deadly. We skip to when Naruto was 12. He was a prodigy among prodigies, praised not only for his physical skills, but what was eventually called the seven soul split demonic technique. What it did was, in theory, split Naruto into 7 pieces of himself, which appeared to hold different capabilities. However, when Naruto turned off the technique, they turned back into blood and went back into him. Danzo, however, theorized that one day, Naruto would be able to, instead of calling them back into blood and putting them back into himself, Naruto would be able to merge all 7 of themselves at once into something even greater. Then again, another ability of Hantengu, or the power of the hatred clone. But I'm not going to show you what this ultimate form looks like yet. Naruto was OP as hell, without even needing to use normal chakra techniques. He was able to wipe the floor with almost everyone, including his adopted brother Sasuke, and even his adopted brother Itachi. Itachi even began to fear Naruto, as if he was ever to kill the Uchiha clan, Naruto could simply kill him in order to stop it. This would cause Itachi to feel great fear, as he did not want the co-op d'état to go on, as, let's just say, it's planned to happen a couple years later, when they're 12 to be exact. But Itachi also feared Naruto's great skills, and his terrifying self-splitting technique. As it appeared not yet, Naruto in one form was able to use all these abilities. However, while everyone marveled Naruto up close, someone from the shadows admired Naruto from afar. This person was sneaky, cheeky, and extremely conniving and intelligent. They saw in Naruto what their experiments could not be. While each of their experiments, yes, showed great capabilities and of somewhat demonic prowess, this person had ruled Naruto as an actual demon, as his skills were not his only skills. He had amazing regeneration, physical strength, speed, and intelligence. I'm truly a force to be reckoned with. It's your job to find out and to tell me in the comments who the heck you think this admirer of Naruto's is. Now, anywho, back to the story. We go to Naruto, who was demolishing his normal training, as instead of being on a team, Naruto was simply trained by himself. While Danzo and a couple of others watched, they peered at the amazing skills Naruto wielded. Incredible power. One day, however, Naruto did something extremely weird. An orb of blood surrounded Naruto's entire body when he was trying to do a full body shapeshift. This orb of blood then surrounded Naruto and began spinning around until it exploded into millions of slashes of blood with a loud screech. What stood in Naruto's place was a female Naruto. Naruto was absolutely confused. How the hell did he turn into a woman? I mean, at least the full body shapeshift works. Just, he didn't want to do this. He was confused and stuck in this form for about an hour, while the Hokage, the Anbu, and Danzo, along with the elders and half of the council, laughed at him. While at the same time, the Hokage and the Danzo and a couple of others, including one of the elders, got a nosebleed from looking at Naruto. Naruto would eventually hear that the Chunin exams were coming up. Danzo was his official teacher. Mine was his on-paper teacher. Or in other words, basically the dude that says, alright, you're allowed to go to missions, or you're allowed to take the Chunin exam. When Danzo heard the Chunin exams were coming to town, he immediately signed Naruto up. As he said, Naruto will defeat every other opponent, even the Sand villages, and even the Sands. Jinchuriki, Igara. After all, he's the ultimate warrior, and nothing can beat him. Danzo said with pride. Instead of being a Uchiha hungry bastard, Danzo is a father figure to Naruto. Naruto would then walk in front of the... Naruto would then go to bed after a long, harsh day of training. In his dreams, there he would see it. The 9 terrifying faces of a whole bunch of terrifying faces what appeared to be 9 to 10 terrifying demons. And that is where I'm ending this part off. I hope you have enjoyed part 1 of What If Naruto Was Muzan's Son. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all later. Goodbye. You know the rules and, skadoosh.